Welcome to our 501st episode of The Grid, and it's plug-in day with our guest Dan Harlacher from ON1 Software, who's going to show us some super cool stuff. My co-host, well, he has friends in the Sudan. He loves a little ditty about Jack and Diane. He doesn't like Ginger. He likes Marianne. He's friends with Vince McMahon. He raps with Roxanne. His favorite CM White color is cyan, and he sails around in a catamaran. He's kicking it with Jackie Chan. It's the real Rocket Man, Erik Kuna. We've got some news. We've got some really cool prizes, and it all starts in just 36.5 seconds. Let's go!
The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Wow. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to another live episode of The Grid. Scott Kelby here. And, of course, joining me, as always, the real Rocket Man, Mr. Kuna.
Hey, Scott. How's it going?
Well, it's going quite well, Eric.
Yeah.
We haven't talked in, 15 seconds. Anyway, not much has changed since we last talked,
exactly.
Eric. But anyway, we're glad to have you here. Eric is in the set right over there. And he's not Skyping in. He's living in. And everybody's here. Christina's here on the comments. Wani's here on the cameras. Jason's back in the control room. Ron's on the streaming. And standing by is Dan from ON1. We are going to be looking at some of their... You guys hear us always talking about their software. And we're being given away their Mr. Kuna's favorite, No Noise. We finally got them to come on and show some of this stuff that we've been talking about. So Dan's standing by, and we're going to look at some of the cool stuff that they make, and their stuff is awesome. So stick around for that. It's going to be a lot of fun, especially if you're not familiar with their stuff. I know a lot of you already have it, but for those of you who don't, you're going to get a cool look at it today. Also, we got some cool giveaways today. We're giving away, of course, a Platypod accessory kit. So this one right here, boom, Platypod. But we're also giving away, we have some new stuff to give away. We're giving away this. This is a Boudoir posing deck from Lindsay Adler. So, first, it's Boudoir, so it's very, very naughty. It's very naughty. And what it is, it's a bunch of cards, and you pull one out, and after you get over how naughty it is, then you have your subject pose like that.
Yeah, there you
now,
go.
I tested this with Eric today. And
it was awful weird, I'll be honest.
It was awkward. I got to be honest with you. I felt it was weird. But so you wouldn't maybe do it with Eric because he's a Rocket Man. But anyway, that's what it is. It's a card, and it gives you a pose and some instructions and all. It's a very cool concept and a lot of nudity. Anyway, so somebody's going to win this today in all of its nakedness. Okay, we're also giving away. This is really cool. The naked level is low, but it's still good. It's a photography trivia deck. So it's a fun thing you do with photographers, because as you know, as a photographer, let's face it, you're alone. You got nobody. You're a loner, a rebel. You need to get your other friend. You only have one other photography friend. And you guys get together and you pull out this deck at a restaurant and the fun never ends. It is actually surprisingly cool.
People will be so jealous.
It's way better than it sounds. And then, so we have
that sounds fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey, I have a message to my control team. I cannot hear anything Eric's saying. Because now normally it's not an issue because I'm not wearing headphones, but I am today, so I can hear Dan, but I can't hear a word Eric's saying.
So
I see his mouth moving.
What are you talking about?
See, it's moving now, but I don't hear anything.
No idea what I'm saying.
If my crew could find a way to get Eric's microphone. Oh, there he is.
Magic.
There he is. Woo.
It's a magic. It's these dials and these buttons.
Now I hear you. Great.
It's
Okay.
crazy.
Yes, it's crazy. All right. What else are we giving away? Okay, we have an awesome gift. Something we haven't given away before. This is the brand new book from Joe McNally.
Ooh, look at that.
It's called The Real Deal. And I want to read the subhead because it says Field Notes from the Life of a Working Photographer. So many things that Joe's done over the years. And I will tell you that this is not an instructional book. Not that you won't learn from it, but it's not an educational book. It is kind of Joe's life through pictures. And he is an amazing storyteller, whether he's writing or whether he's taking photos. You can turn to any page and it just sucks you in. The photos suck you in, the story. I think it's the best thing that Joe's ever done. Just want to tell you, it's not a step one, turn on your flash kind of thing. It's nothing like that at all. But it's almost, I don't know if it's I wouldn't call it a biography, but it kind of is. It's kind of a coffee table. It's very inspirational. It's fantastic. You will love it, and we're going to give away, it's a hardcover book. We're giving one today to some lucky winner, and Erik will tell you how to win in just a moment. And we're also giving away, gosh, we're giving away so much today. We're giving away a copy of my Lightroom Classic book. It is now back in stock. The original giant shipment got all shipped out, all the pre-orders. There were thousands of pre-orders. They're all gone on Amazon, but they were sold out. It's now back in stock. We're going to give away one today, but if you don't win, of course, you can always go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble and buy one yourself. That would be nice. Okay.
Yeah, that's always nice.
All right, so we have all of that. What else are we giving away? We're giving away an ON1 no noise AI plugin today, so that's kind of awesome. What else are we giving away? That's pretty much it for today.
Yeah, and then if they want to enter, well, all they're going to do is leave us a comment in the comments.
Yep.
Tell us what they want to win. I see we have people joining us all over the place, so just leave a comment in there. Tell us what you'd like to win, and then at the end of the show, we'll pick a winner, and then we'll give you the information on how to claim your prize. So.
Hey, I got to give a shout out. I know we're not doing the shout outs yet, but I got to give one to Lynn Hughes, who I saw there. Lynn's a friend of ours, and it's nice to see her. Lenny from Colorado. So nice to see you, Lynn. Thank you.
Yeah, we got Mariana joining us saying hi. We got Amy from Keller, Texas saying hi. Monica from Central British Columbia, Canada. We got Alyssa from Michigan saying hi. Steve from Panama City. Lori from Newfoundland. We have Mehdi from Denmark. We've got John all the way from Wisconsin. It's cold up there. I tell you, it's cold here for us. I think it's down in the 50s right now, so it is freezing. And then Amy Taylor saying hi from all the way from Scotland. So we got people joining us all over the world. If you just leave us a comment, tell us what you like to win. And then when we get later into the show and we start getting into these cool plugins and you start seeing all this cool stuff and you have questions, just ask questions in the comments, and then we'll get them to Dan, so you can give us all the answers straight from the horse's mouth. So
all right, couple other things real quick. We have our Lightroom Conference coming up in February. We're very excited about how it's going. We're gonna have lots and lots and lots of folks there. We've got it's a 2-day online 2-track class, so it's 2 simultaneous tracks, and we've got a great cast of instructors, and you get the entire conference archived for a full year, so you can watch it for up to a year after the conference. So if you miss any classes or rewatch them or whatever, and it's an incredible value if you buy it now during the early bird special. If you wait to the last minute, it becomes not an incredible value, it just becomes a good value. I would get it while it's still incredible. All right, so you can do that over at Kelby1Live.
And I think another thing with that, Scott, like we've been talking about it, there's we've been talking about the classes that are going to be at the conference, and it's really really cool how much Lightroom has over the last couple of years just added features and added new things
evolved,
that we're going to be teaching at the conference. So if you want to get up to speed, if you're an existing user, if you're a new user that just has no idea, either one of those would be great to join us at that conference.
There you go. All right, what else? We got a new class coming out tomorrow. Usually on Thursdays, we release a new class at Kelby One. Tomorrow, it's from Iberian X Perillo, and Iberian X is such a great teacher, and he has, I am not kidding, the best radio voice. His voice is, you can just listen to him. He could talk about, he could describe the contents of a milk carton, and you'd just be like, I like this. I could listen to this all day. Anyway, he's doing a class called Becoming Your Best Photo Editor. So that's coming out tomorrow at Kelby One. And don't forget, on Tuesdays, so every Tuesday, Dave Williams writes the Travel Tuesdays with Dave on my blog at scottkelby.com. And if you're not following Dave, he lives a very interesting life. You got to follow him on Instagram. And every day it's like, here I am shooting the Northern Lights. Here I am. Yeah, he's all into the cold, man. He is up in the Nordic region, and he's like, here's Santa's house. He's like in Finland and like
just snow everywhere. It's ridiculous.
He sold all the stuff. He quit his job. He was a London street cop. He was a street cop in London for many, many years. And I would see him. I would be in London. I'd run into him. He would come see me and my family, or we'd hang out. And anyway, I used to, you know what I used to do to him? I would go on Google Maps and I would search around and I would find different places. Like he was in Leicester Square, right? Mm-hmm. So that was his kind of area. I would find restaurants and places, and I would just text him and I'd go, "Hey Dave, I'm over at Stringfellows. Can you drop by and say hi?" I would always send him these places around there just to screw with him because I wasn't really there, you know. But anyway, he sold everything, built a van that is his house and his studio, and he is traveling the frozen tundra, getting really good. And he's getting better and better. Like he's always been a good photographer, but his stuff is going up a big notch. He's really invested his life in it.
The more you get out there and you get out to those beautiful places like we talk about, and you do more of it, and it just happens.
It's like anything else. It's like practice, and you get better. Okay, it's crazy. All right, so that's what's going on. Let's shoot over to Dan. Are you with us? Can you pop?
I'm here, guys.
Boom,
thanks for having me.
There.
Hey.
All right. How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing wonderful. Again, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be on the show.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're happy to have you here. Dan is a really good photographer, and I always have respect for anybody that has a printer behind him. Like he's got, what is that, a Pro 1000 back there?
Pro 100. It's an antique now.
Oh, it's an antique. Oh, yeah. But you know what? Yeah. It makes prints.
Yeah, it still makes prints.
And I see some nice prints hanging on the wall behind you. Very nice.
Yeah, thanks.
So,
we might even use one of those for our demo today. We'll see.
Ooh, sweet. Anyway, speaking of demo, so you know, Dan, we've been talking a lot about your software. We've been giving away some of the plugins, and we thought it would be cool for people to actually see. We keep telling them about it, but we're like, it's really great. This is what I'm using, and it would be better if you could. So, can you show us some stuff? You got a minute?
Yeah, no, I'd love to. So today we're working on Lightroom, but of course these work in everything. They work in Photoshop and Elements, and you name it, it works inside of it.
All right.
So.
Hey, Dan, I do want to tell you that at some point we're going to have to take a commercial break. So be expecting me to kind of bust in and go, hey, it's commercial break time. All right. Oh, I see
Tell me whenever.
I see Grand Central Station down there. And is that the New York Public Library on the left?
That's actually Grand Central Station as well. It's just a different view from a different spot.
Well, I love that. I love that shot. That's okay. But anyway, I'm sorry.
It doesn't have any noise in it, so we're gonna skip that one.
Yeah, skip that crap. It has no noise.
There's no noise. So,
all right.
So let's start out actually with no noise, because that's one of the ones that folks are the most interested in. I know you guys have talked about it quite a bit, and you can't show noise without showing a bird. So let's start off with a bird photo. So I'm in Lightroom. I pick the photo. I'm just going to go up to File, down to Plugin Extras, and then pick whichever plugin I'm going to send it to. I'm going to send it to No Noise in this case. Now that Plugin Extras menu is the best way to access our stuff. And there's a couple of reasons for that. It gives us extra hooks that you don't get if you go through that edit in menu instead. So let's say you decide to cancel and not use it. We can clean up that copy, or if we have to merge multiple photos together, we can just manage the photos a lot better. Plus, it also gives us the ability to make sure that we get the original raw data, which is super important for something like No Noise. No Noise works at such a fundamentally deep level on the photo that it's actually denoising at the raw level before it's even demosaicked or debared, that you call it. So we have to have that original raw data to do its best. Now, it'll work on any kind of photo, but it'll do the best job whenever you can send it the actual raw photo. So from the export options, I'm just going to say send a copy of my Lightroom settings, and I want to send a DNG. So there you go. Now take a second here for Lightroom to cook that DNG for us and send it to us. And now it'll pop up here inside of No Noise. There we go. So when it pops up in the noise, it's going to automatically zoom to 100%, because of course you're looking at noise. You need to look at it at 100% or greater to really see what's going on. Same thing with sharpening. The left-hand side is the before, the right-hand side is going to be the after. Now, because of the screen share, I'm going to zoom in even closer. I'm going to go to 200% just so you guys can see the noise better. So I'm just going to zoom in one more step here and pan over. And if you look on the left side again, before, right side, after, I'm just going to wiggle it back and forth so you can kind of see the before and after. So that's before. That's all the original noise, the original detail in the photo out of the camera. And then, Look at that.
Oh, holy
That's
cow.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it just wipes out the noise. It's
Yeah, it's
literally like taking like a cleaning cloth
Yeah, it's
and
like
just
cleaning your
cleaning the noise
window.
off.
It's like cleaning your window with your car.
Yeah, you know, that's the tricky thing about noise reduction. Traditionally, is it's kind of it's the yin and yang, like everything in photography. You have to give up something to get a benefit somewhere else. So, you know, if I want to get that smooth background, I want to get rid of all that noise, I'm going to have to sacrifice detail using a traditional denoising algorithm. But the AI networks that we've trained for this are so unique and so different that it can detect those areas, keep the background nice and smooth, but give you all the detail, actually even more detail than you started with. So I'm just going to grab the enhanced detail slider here so you guys can kind of see that. This is not sharpening. This is actually at the AI demosaicing level, enhancing the detail in the photo. So you can really see all those little hairs pop out, or little feathers on this guy. Let's go back to 100 so you can see it a little better. We'll turn it on and off.
You know, I don't know how many people that are watching have used any kind of noise reduction, the noise reduction that's in Lightroom or the noise reduction. But noise reduction, why this is so amazing, and so for those of you who aren't familiar with this, is noise reduction has always been one thing, and that is it blurs the image to hide the noise. That's generally what noise reduction has done. And what's so amazing about this is you're getting the opposite. You're getting the noise goes away, but the image looks sharper. And it's always been the noise goes away, and it kind of goes.
It's always the image looks softer after and this is actually the opposite, where you're gaining back, and like we were just talking about, like it's at the raw level.
Right.
It's gaining back that detail without really sharpening the image.
And this opens a whole new world for a lot of photographers to be able to shoot it at
crazy.
high ISOs. Like that's Eric's. That's where he lives.
Yeah,
Eric lives in the high ISO world.
ISO, it's like normal.
Yeah, and look at this. Lisa just wrote this. This software has been such a game changer for me. So
maybe
she just wrote that in the
there
comments.
You go. Lisa B is saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'd love to hear that. We'd love to hear that. And the really cool thing about it in a workflow like Lightroom is it's going to save out a new DNG file for you. So you're essentially still starting with the raw photo. It just has all the noise sucked out of it, and then it goes through the rest of your workflow just like any other raw photo. So you still have all the tonal range, all the color range, everything you normally do after this still works exactly the same way.
So Dan, like
anyway.
we're on that image there, and so that's what we've denoised it. We could just hit apply. What about those other things like you have there, like sharpening or any other things that you like most of the time, that's 99% of the time what you did there, you're opening the image, you're applying the denoise, and then you're saving it out, right? I mean, most of the time that's what you're doing.
You don't even have to apply it. It opens on
it
fly.
it just applies it, and then you make sure it looks good and you process it, right?
Yeah, for me, like 90% of the time, there's a built-in auto, and auto detects the right amount of luminance and, enhancement of detail for you automatically based on the photos. I just open up, it's in auto, I hit done. That's about all I ever have to do. So there's additional sharpening if you want to add that. That's more of like the original photo was not sharp. You need to refocus it a bit. And there, you'll notice there's this little layers stack over here. You can actually duplicate the layer so that you can locally apply the noise reduction to different parts of the photo. That's kind of an old-fashioned technique. We left it in here because some users like to do that. They want to be able to use a different part of noise reduction on a sky versus something on the foreground, for example. So you have the ability to do that. And it still squishes those layers together back into a DNG. So it's still a raw photo that you're working with, but it lets you kind of modulate the noise reduction across the photo.
Yeah,
again,
I've never done that.
Well, that's what I was just saying. I mean, I think what's cool about the software is it's as easy as opening it up, the auto will be on, and I will tell you 99% of the time that's where you're going to leave it. But you have the ability, because I know that there's people out there that are like,
tweakers.
Yeah, but I want to really get in there and dial the noise and do all that. You have the ability to do that in this software. So that's really nice.
There's a question from Vincent here, and he says, is it normal for the handoff from Lightroom to no noise to take up to 60 seconds? I've always had to take a few seconds, but if it's taking 60 seconds.
I mean, does the handoff in other programs take that long too, would be the question, because usually if the handoff's really not that long,
10 seconds maybe.
Maybe.
60 seconds? I've never had, Dan, it's not 60 seconds, it's like 10.
It's usually pretty fast. And the one where you would see potentially a longer time is on this one, on No Noise. And that's because it has to go through that AI network. And with the way AI works, it's very dependent on your video card. It's also very dependent on your operating system version. So if you have an older system, especially with an integrated video card, it's going to take longer for it to do that AI processing. Unlike the new M1 Max, it's like a second. It's super duper fast on those. So it just kind of depends on your hardware. Most of the time, it's going to be a few seconds. Like this computer I'm working on right now is a 5-year-old iMac. It wasn't even a very fancy one at the time. And you saw it took, I don't know, 7 seconds probably for it to open.
Less than 10 seconds. Yeah, if it's taking 60 seconds, there might be a hardware issue. Now, Erik has a rule that if it takes 60 seconds for any plugin to open, he likes legal marijuana. It's legal on and so he
makes
will
it go
always,
by a lot faster.
And he always says, you know, when you're really smashed and stoned, you don't even notice the 60 seconds. But that's just Erik. I would never do that because
that's how I roll.
That's how he rolls.
Or just save all that weed money and buy a faster computer too.
Well, I mean,
he's not going to do that.
I mean, that's smart. No,
he just got
a
faster computer. He's got a fast laptop there.
Well, there's a couple other questions here. So Rick's asking a good question here, saying, would you denoise before doing any other processing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in terms of the kind of the timing within your workflow, this is something I would do at the very, very beginning of the workflow. And what I would do is I'd kind of take my photos in Lightroom, I'd look at them, I kind of find like the winners that I want to go edit. I'm going to zoom them up to 100 in Lightroom and see how much noise is there. Because if it's a low ISO shot, there's not really a big benefit in going through No Noise or another noise reduction program. I want to see some stuff. So it depends on the camera and the sensor, but probably around like that 4,000 ISO. On most modern cameras. If it's less than that, you might not need it. More than that, you're definitely going to want it. Then send that through, create a new DNG, and you can batch process with this. So you can grab a whole bunch of photos at once. It'll go through, open the first one up. You can say use these settings on all the photos, and it'll create DNGs of all the photos you selected.
All right. Hey, Dan, we got to take a short break, but coming up next, we've got more questions. We've got more cool stuff to see. So stick around. We'll be right back. We're here live on The Grid. Don't go away. All right, Dan, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Hi, my name is Ibarian X Perella. I'm a photographer, as well as the host and producer of the Candid Frame Photography podcast. And you may also recognize me from another course that I taught here at Kelby 1, my course on street photography. Well, this course is something different. It's teaching you how to become your own best editor. Now, regardless of how long you've been making pictures or how experienced you are with a camera, there comes a time where you have to be able to assess your own work. Not whether an image is good or bad, but what that body of work means and what you want to do with it. And that's the role of the editor, and that's what I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you my own personal process and how I use Adobe Lightroom Classic to look at images from a shoot or a project and discern which of those images are the best and translate them into a gallery, a spread in a magazine, or a book or an exhibition. All those pictures that you love to create into something that has greater meaning than whether that picture looks good as an individual photograph. This course is a lot of fun, and it's a breakthrough for many that I've taught in my in-person and online workshops, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. Join me on my course on Kelby 1. You're bound to have a lot of fun.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hey, we're back on the grid. That was a very abrupt.
Yeah. Hey,
it seems very abrupt today.
we got a little gremlin going on, and I think it's causing it to be very abrupt.
Okay, well, it's okay. We're abrupt. All right, so Dan. Before we move on to showing us anything else, we've got some more questions for you, and some of these you kind of covered already, but we just need to clarify them. You can use this. Will's asking. You can use this on a JPEG. It's just the results are better on RAW. So yes, absolutely, Will. You can use it on a JPEG. All right, next. This one is, can you scroll up just a hair? We got this list of all these questions. Lil Herman says, I've been trying to use ON1, but there are artifacts. Sometimes there are artifacts in the output that weren't present in the preview. So when he's looking at it in ON1, he doesn't see them. What can he do to make sure that he sees any artifacts or reduce artifacts? What's the situation?
Yeah, well, I can think of a couple things that could potentially cause that, and part of it depends on which plugin you're using. So let's take the case of No Noise. There's that enhanced detail slider that we used. It's really good at enhancing detail when there's detail, but if there's not detail, a very smooth photo like sand or snow, for example, there's just a little bit of texture in there, and if you turn that thing up, it's really trying to add detail where there's just not a whole lot of detail to start with. And if you don't see that at 100%, that's why you always want to work at 100%. When you're adjusting noise or sharpening, you might not see that, and then it would get rendered out into the
so the
final
key is
file.
You got to see it at 100%.
Well, and I can 100% agree. That's because I deal with this with stars, and a lot of times also with clouds. If there's not enough texture in the clouds, it'll start trying to make texture in the clouds. But that's a lot of times that enhanced detail. But if you're not in it 100%, and you know how it is, you're editing the photo and you move to one area of it, but you don't check the other corner because you're at 100%, and you got to go and check the photo in those areas and just make sure. And then you'll just start getting used to which photos are going to be problematic with that, and you'll know what to deal with, how to deal with it.
All right, there we go.
Kind of one of those. It's like what was it? Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility.
Yep,
so
exactly. Exactly.
Those sliders go way up to 100. That doesn't mean you should always put it there. So.
Nope.
All right, Judy's got a question. Judy says, I just got this software last week. And she says, and you've already addressed this, but we'll make it clear. I get a message when I use the plugin in Lightroom that my file is not a RAW file. I even checked my camera to make sure they were RAW, so she checked there are RAW files. So she's asking if I use this plugin as you showed earlier.
Yeah, the plugin manager.
Going to the plugin manager, will that fix the error message and it will be working on a RAW?
Yeah. There's kind of two ways you can do it in Lightroom. There's that right click. What the heck is it called in these days? I never use it. So edit in.
Edit in. Yeah.
Don't use the edit in.
No.
Because basically what that does is it's asking Lightroom to do all the work and then just sends it to the app. The app doesn't have any control over what you get, and it will never send the raw photo to it. Instead, always go through plugin extras. File, plugin extras. Here we have the extra hooks that we need to tell Lightroom to send us the actual raw data, rather than a cooked TIFF or a cooked JPEG instead.
That goes for every plugin that you're using. Like if you do that edit in, why it's quick, you're sending a reduced, you're sending a TIFF, or you're sending a JPEG, or you're sending whatever you're telling Lightroom to send, and then it's rendering it out.
Right. Russ wants to know.
The hard part is that right click is just so natural. We're so used to like right clicking to do things. So with all of your power with Adobe, could you ask them to put the plugin extras menu into the right click context menu?
Hey,
and then this problem would go away.
I'm with you. This is so annoying, and it's like it'd be so easy.
We have no power.
So easy.
We have no power. They just we call up and they just laugh and laugh. Yeah. Actually, I do know somebody I could call. I know a person, and so I didn't realize I didn't realize how that would help us. But it
is a pain for me.
Okay, I'm going to ask.
A pain.
I make no promises.
Because right click is just so easy, but then you got to go file this, and there's not like a shortcut for it.
Dan, I'm sorry, we're getting so many questions.
Yes.
Russ wants to know, when you send it back to Lightroom, does it come back as a raw DNG or a TIFF or a JPEG? If you do it the right way.
Do it the right way, it'll be a DNG that comes back into it. So.
Right, and we know what the right way is.
That is the magic of this.
Yes.
You have to understand is what's magical about this is you're sending a raw file, and then you're getting that raw file back, and that's why you're doing this in the beginning of your workflow. Again, you're wiping out the noise, so you start with a cleaner file. and you're still starting with a clean raw file. It's great. It's awesome.
All right. The important thing is that we do not tell anybody. I did not realize that. So let's just go right past that and go to. All right. Ron has a great question. So which is better, using the ON1 No Noise AI on a group of photos, or is it better if you do it one at a time?
It doesn't matter. The results will be the same. It's more a matter of what your needs are. So if I've got a whole shoot and the whole shoot is at a high ISO, I'm shooting like a basketball game, for example, where you're shooting at a high ISO, then you could just go through and batch process all of them. Keep in mind, it's going to essentially duplicate each of your raw photos into a DNG, which is going to double your storage space that you need for it. But, storage is cheap these days. So it just kind of depends on where you're at. I personally only do it when it's a photo that I'm going to go do more work on. That's when I use it.
Okay. Rick wants to know, how well would No Noise AI work on scan negatives and slides that have a fair amount of grain?
Honestly, I haven't tested that. My gut says it's probably not going to work well because the AI network wasn't trained on that. It's very, very specific to noise from digital camera sensors. That's what it's trained on. And film grain is going to look pretty different from that. So I'm guessing it'll probably be okay, but it's not going to be anything as amazing as it would be with normal digital noise.
Dan, there's a new feature.
Yeah, there's a new feature, like a little checkbox that says film grain.
Add a checkbox that says traditional film or something.
Yeah, good idea.
I know you guys are always looking for new ideas.
Yeah, you're looking for more work.
All right. Now,
do you have like a polling capability in your thing? Can you actually ask how many people would use that, or?
We don't have a live polling capability. We just ask them to raise their hands.
Okay.
And then
raise your hand.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you put it in the comments, we will see how many people are commenting that. Yeah, I would definitely use removing film grain.
But you know what?
Film.
If we're going to put it in the comments, right? And so this is just the people that are watching live. Obviously, the people that are watching later on YouTube and on Facebook and stuff we won't get their input. But for those of you who are watching live with us, tell us, say, yes, I would use it, or tell us no. Don't just say nothing. Yes. Right? Say, and by the way, when you answer yes or no, you're automatically entered in the contest to win. So you might win something just by saying yes or no. So the question is, we're posing for the comments is, would it be helpful for you in AI No Noise, providing that you have it or are going to get it or something, that there's a checkbox that says traditional film grain reduction instead of digital photography reduction. So you'd be adding a new feature to the plugin. Would that be helpful to you? Just give us a quick yes or no. That's all we need. You don't have to explain if you don't want to. But
there we go.
Again, you're in. All right. Tracy says, this is funny. Tracy says, I always see examples with birds. Would this work? Would this work as well with indoor sports shots? That's funny because, Eric never, well, I don't say never puts them on birds, but Eric puts all his on rockets. So
yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it works with a lot of different things. I probably with birds, it's because, that's one of those things that you have to have a high shutter speed, and that lends itself to having high ISO.
All right. Yeah. But she also wants to know, would this work as well with indoor sports shots? Because I can tell you from experience, indoor sports, you're going to be shooting at 4,600.
And I can tell you it does whenever I have to capture shots of my daughter in an indoor arena. Yeah, absolutely. It works great. I mean, that's why, and why is what Dan was talking about is it's trained on that digital noise.
Right.
And it really does well about picking up that digital noise. It's like this cloth that just wipes out that digital noise off your sensor. It's crazy.
Yeah, so Dan, it's not really dependent on the subject. It's
Correct.
Dependent on the noise pattern. It's not saying, oh, well, this is a portrait, so I'm not going to do it because I only work with birds. It's like it's working on the noise pattern generated by a digital camera sensor, not by what the subject of the photo is. So I hope that helps,
correct.
Tracy.
There's a little bit of both. I mean, it actually is part of the training process. You're sending it, millions of sections of hundreds of thousands of photos. And within that big collection of photos, there's a broad range of subject matters. We do tend to weight it towards the things that are most commonly shot at high ISO. So there's a lot of birds and wildlife, because like Eric mentioned, that's when you tend to have the long lens. You need the higher shutter speed to stop those things.
And you see
but also
you see
sports,
noise in the
there's
sky.
quite a bit of those.
Sky is a great place for noise to live.
Oh, so it just lives up in that sky.
It loves that
aviation
sky.
Photography. Yeah, it just lives in that
there.
sky.
All right. Hey, Dan, just so you know, Christina is monitoring the comments, and she says people are like, "Oh yes." She said there is a couple of no's, but she said it's overwhelmingly yes. All right.
That's good to go.
All right. So Mike's got a comment. All right, and he said it's a long shot request. He says, this is a long shot, I know, but I would love a version of this software that would run on mobile. What?
Yeah.
Mobile?
Yeah.
Well,
I would use that.
Yeah, because nothing. I will say this: as great as
small
like
sensors,
the camera is on an iPhone and stuff
yeah.
like that, where does it fall apart? Noise.
It's the low. It's the low light noise.
The low light noise is horrendously bad. So that's
it's that small sensor. That would be cool. That would be cool.
And of course, if they were working on it, Dan wouldn't say, "Well, we're working on it." Dan would just go, "Oh, that's interesting."
Yeah, I know. That's a good idea with a big wing.
All righty. We got a question from Andy Lay. So Andy's a buddy of mine and a terrific photographer. And a super smart guy. Andy's that guy you can blindfold. He takes apart his camera and then reassembles
it back together.
Yeah, that's Andy. He's a great guy and such a good shooter. And also, Andy's very good at post. So this is good that Andy's. Andy says, when I'm batch processing a batch of photos in Noise AI, does the software AI analyze each photo individually? Ooh, this is a good question.
It does. Well, you kind of have your choice. So if you open it and you just use auto, it's going to use the auto that individually analyzes each photo. Or you can open one photo, make whatever adjustments you want, and then say sync. And then it uses those same settings across all the ones you synchronize. So you can either have it be all auto or a specific set of settings. It's up to you.
All right. So, Dan, I know that we were torpedoing anything else that you're going to show, but it's time for a break. I'm sorry there's so many questions, but these are great questions.
Yeah, great questions.
The questions are terrific. So let's take a really short break, and when we come back, coming up next, we've got Dan's going to show us, I think, something else. Yeah. And we're also answering your questions, and you guys are doing a great job with the questions. So keep them coming, and we'll see you in just a few seconds.
Multitask with Platypod, the ultra commercial twin pack.
Distance learning during a pandemic is a challenging situation. With the Platypod twin pack, you can teach your students just like before by letting them see the big picture. Nothing puts the board in boardroom like the same old view. The Platypod twin pack easily fits in small spaces, so you can unlock a variety of unique angles that share the whole story. When you can't waste time on multiple setups, let the Platypod twin pack be your sous chef. It captures multiple angles simultaneously, so you can focus on what you do best. Sometimes just getting around your equipment can be like an elaborate production. The Platypod twin pack clears the floor of tripods and light stands, so you can use the entire room. Now more than ever, we're learning to adapt. We've moved the office into the bedroom, and we moved the gym. Whoa! The Platypod twin pack is just as adaptable. You can mount or strap it to just about anything. Turn any location into a professional setup. Yeah! Ooh. Platypod twin pack. No matter who you are, or what you do, or where you do it, double your creative impact with the Platypod twin pack.
Go to platypod.com to get your twin pack today.
Hi, I'm Jack Rosnicki, and I have a new class at kelby1.com on camera scanning. If you're like me and you have a barn full of slides and negatives and other stuff, what I did is I was able to do camera scans, which is very quick and efficient and very good quality, to convert all my old negatives and slides and prints into digital form, which makes my life a lot easier. And I'll give you a lot of tips and tricks on how to do that yourself. So come and watch my class at kelby1.com on camera scanning.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
We're back. Hey, so that Platypod commercial, that's something, isn't it?
It's interesting.
You know, every time I watch it, I know that people like it. Like, people said, yeah, we like this and all. I watch it, and I'm like...
It's interesting.
It's interesting. That's what I think to myself, Eric. That's exactly what I'm thinking. The greatest product with the greatest ad. Okay, Dan's back with us. All right, Dan, I know that we have monopolized your time with noise because noise is our life here. When you co-host with Erik Kuna,
but there's so many other things, right? And one of the things not only is noise, but it's the effects, right?
See, this is now you're in my jam.
Yep.
This is where I live,
Yep.
and I love ON1 effects. So it is awesome, and I underthought how great it was until I really started using it. Now I'm like, okay, I feel late to the game now. Like now that I'm using it all the time, I feel like I wasted a lot of time. Anyway, Dan, can you show us why it's so awesome?
You betcha. Let me show you. So I'm going to start off raw photo, Lightroom. I'm going to send it to effects. Same way we did before. Plug in extras, open in effects. You notice there's an open as layers option. If you select multiple photos, it'll merge it into one new photo, which is kind of handy too if you want to do some masking. But we're just going to use the individual photo, send it to effects. This time I'm going to send it as what we call a smart photo. A smart photo is basically a PSD. It appears like a PSD to the rest of the world, but inside of it we can put in extra information so that it becomes re-editable. So all the adjustments that you make inside of effects, you can change later on. You can come back and redo them, which is pretty cool. Basically gives you non-destructive editing inside of other plugins. All right. We'll send this off here. That'll open up. While it's doing this, you mentioned a guy who can take his camera apart blindfolded. Yeah. When I was coming up in the business, I worked for a photographer, and we did a lot of aerial stuff. And the requirement was you had to be able to reload a Hasselblad A12 back in the air in 12 seconds in order to get the job. So because you're just in the back of a helicopter, just cranking, loading backs. So old-fashioned. So all right, so here we are. We're inside of effects. I'll give you the quick tour. Over here on the left are the presets. This is really what sets effects apart, are all the great presets that it comes with. It comes with, 300 presets these days, divided up into these great categories, and all you do is you simply pick one that you want for your photo. Before I do that, I'm going to crop this photo. I'm going to use a square crop just so I can get rid of some gook on the sides here.
Gook, Dan?
Nah, just, it wasn't very exciting.
Some gook.
It wasn't very
exciting.
exciting.
I like that name, though.
Yeah, I like
some gook. You got some gook. We got to start using that, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Got some gook on the sides.
Yep.
And I might also do a quick little bit of retouching, too, just so I can get rid of some of these I used a little piece of foam down here to keep this pear from falling over. There we go. So I'll zap that guy, and I'll zap this guy.
Was a parent.
Mm-hmm.
Parent? Yeah, anybody? No?
Parent.
I'm sorry.
All right.
So I'm in kind of a good starting spot. I could have done that work in Lightroom. I just happened to have done it here. Now let's go find a preset to add. As you can see, there's tons over here. I'm going to go into the culinary category, and that's one of my favorites. These are kind of these very subtle matte looks. And I can see those presets on my photo, and I simply click on one to use it. But, I really wish I could see those bigger. Well, I'm just going to click right here, this little button. This is going to open what we call the Quick View browser.
I flippin' love
now
this.
You can see them a lot bigger.
I use this every time. I absolutely. Yeah. I don't know why this isn't like in every I don't know why Lightroom doesn't do it.
They should.
This is the greatest thing to see your photo that large and really see the presets.
Yeah, because then you can be like, oh, I like that.
And you don't have to scroll over them and scroll over them one by one, and it's hard to compare A and B. This is one of my favorite things. I do this every time, and I'm a preset based. My workflow is preset based, and so I freaking love that. Well done, you guys.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with presets. I start with presets too, and then I go and I tweak them, and we'll talk about that in a second. So I just added this particular preset, and you notice there's a fade slider over it. So now I can fade that entire preset back and forth, so I can adjust it just to taste the way that I want. So maybe I don't want it at full strength. I can adjust it to just the level that I want. Now over here on the right-hand side, you see what we call the stack. These are all of the filters that were added in that preset. That's really the way effects works. It's a collection of, there's at least 30 different filters that come in this guy, and it's how you stack them and adjust them that creates the look that you're going for, and you wrap that all up in a preset to save what it does. So that's this preset. You can see it added a curve, it added dynamic contrast, added a bunch of different filters to it. I can go in and I can individually adjust each of these. I can mask each of these. I can change the blending modes on all of these. It's totally insanely flexible what you can do. I think the only thing I'm going to do is I just want to add a little bit of a glow. That's one of the cool things you can't really do inside of Lightroom. You can't really do glows. So I'm just going to click on Add Filter. I'm going to go find the glows. There's the glows. Now, I can pick from the little built-in styles. I can manually adjust it. Or if I click over here on the Filters tab, it works the same way it did for the presets, but just for that individual filter. So I can see all of my different glow options just for that filter, just at that point in time in my stack. So then I just go and pick one that I like. How about Rich Glow? Rich Glow. That'd be a great name for a photographer, wouldn't it?
That'd be a great name for a band.
Rich Glow.
There we go. So there we go. I threw on a little bit of a glow. And, while I'm at it, I want to make this little leaf pop out a little bit more. So I'm going to add one more filter. We'll add my favorite, dynamic contrast. And I'm going to use a strong amount. Now, you notice it's applying to the whole photo. I don't want it to apply to the whole photo. I just want it right there. I just want to paint it in. So I'll click on the mask button. I'll say invert. That's taken it off the photo. It's automatically grab my masking brush. It's automatically set it to a paint in here. And now I can just paint in where I want that look to go.
It's such an easy way to mask, right?
Yeah.
It's so, you know what it is? You wonder, well, we wonder a lot about the decisions that are made in Lightroom and Photoshop. It's like, it's just so easy and obvious the way you guys do it.
Where you're like, why do they do it that way?
Well, I have to admit, the new stuff in Lightroom is pretty crazy. Their masking
stuff is
much better than it was.
But how many years do we have to wait for it? 14 years?
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
So, let's take a look at it before and after. There's before. There's after.
Oh, nice.
Just like that. Yeah.
That makes me want to shoot pairs.
There you go. Commence the questions. So.
All right. All right. So no one's asking any questions. They're like, well, you know what it is? It's not like AI where there's, this is just basically, wow, that's cool. I mean, what are they, it's
I mean, that's what, when it comes down with effects, I think what is cool about it is those presets and that you can see all those different kinds. So it gives you a little bit of inspiration, where you can kind of get, you get your photo in there and then you're like, oh, I wonder what this would look like if like we just saw, like even down, it's not even the preset level, it's at the actual effects level that you say, I don't know how different glows would look, so I just go over there and I can see all the different types of glows applied to my photo. And I think that's what sets it apart, because a lot of times the hardest thing is seeing it, what you want to do to your photo.
It's like with furniture. I can walk in a furniture store and go, ooh, that's the one, that's what I want. I know it when I see it. But if you tell me, Scott, what kind of couch do you want? I'm like, I don't know. I'll know it when I see it. Now with effects, there's ones that I already know I want to put on there. There's ones that are my go-to effects and stuff. But like with those glows, if you said, what kind of glow do you want, Scott? I don't know, a glow. So being able to look at them all with those big thumbnails, I think is awesome. I think that's fantastic. It's one of my favorite features. When I use the presets, man, that's the first thing I do. I find a preset category I want, right?
Yeah.
And then I go to the big presets immediately.
Yeah, I love how it tiles them really big.
Oh yeah, and I can see, boom, that's what I want. That I think is one of its strong suits for sure.
I just go down to my Scott Kelby landscape category. That makes it easy too.
That's right. I got my own presets. So I made a collection of custom-made presets based on the stuff that I shoot myself. So it's so I got some sports in there. I got travel. I got landscape, portraits. The stuff I shoot. And so there we go.
I also love how there's that overall slider on the effect, because a lot of times you just don't want to go all the way to 100, so you can just dial it back.
Right, the fade slider. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. No, that's very handy. Here, I'm just going to save this so you guys can see what I was talking about when I mentioned those smart photos in Lightroom. This is a really unique thing because you can go back. You saw all that stuff I did. I did all that masking and all those different filter layers and things like that. We'll save this guy. It's going to come back here in Lightroom. Go back to grid view so we can see it. So, there's that photo that we just created. Normally, with other plugins, that'd be done. It's cooked. There's nothing I can do about it, right? But watch, I can go back. If I go back to plugin extras, and we send this guy back to effects, it knows that I had a smart photo already, so it's going to ask me to open the original rather than making a copy of it. When it goes back into effects, all that stuff we did is reconstituted right from scratch. So I can go back and readjust anything. So let's say I don't like that texture and border that I put on, I can easily remove that. So it'll pop up here in a second. It's got to load the photo.
Oh, I'm glad
there it is.
I'm glad it loaded quickly because Erik was just getting ready to light up.
I had to redo all that stuff. So let's say I don't like that border and the texture, so I'm just going to throw away the border. I'll throw away the texture, and maybe I wanted to make it black and white instead. So I can go in here and I can make it black and white, and then save that and send it back to Lightroom. All non-destructive.
That's cool. I mean, I knew that, but it's still cool. Yeah. It's still cool.
There you go. See?
Yeah, that is awesome.
Now it's black and white instead of the original. Yeah.
See, now it's fine art. It went from just It went from a pair and a table to fine art, because when you take a regular photo and you make it black and white, it instantly becomes fine art.
So with these plugins, like if somebody wanted to get them, like how much is like no noise effects? How much is it? Where can they go get it? That kind of stuff.
Sure. All right. So to get them, obviously, go to our website, on1.com. Right here, click on the plugins tab, and you can learn about all of the plugins. There's actually 5 that we make. We've really only talked about no noise and effects, but there's also Portrait AI for automated AI-based portrait retouching. There's HDR for building natural-looking HDRs very quickly, and of course, Resize, which is kind of the gold standard when it comes to resizing and preparing your photos for print. You can get them all individually, or you can get them together in a bundle. And if we go down here to the bottom, you can kind of see what the prices are for those guys. Now, because we love Kelby, you guys can use the Kelby20 coupon code, and that will save you a little bit of money on any of these as well.
So it's the 20, is it 20% off, or is it just a random number?
You know, I wish they would have told me that. Give it a try.
So it's a discount.
Either $20 off or 20% off. One of the two.
That's one of the two. It's either 20.
One of the two.
But anyway, so the code is Kelby20. So
Kelby20.
Put that in and get a deal. Now, can I give a shout? You're not going to show Portrait AI, but can I give a shout out to it?
Please.
It's another sleeper. It's another one that it's way better than you think it is. Plugins have traditionally, for portraits and stuff, gone a little over the top, right? Everything kind of looks plasticky and kind of funky. And you even see the ads, like you see full page ads for them, and you look at that and go, that after looks almost worse than but Portrait AI is very good. It is surprisingly good. The first time I used it, I was kind of like, this is better than I was expecting.
And me on the other side, Resize. I love Resize because, again, there's different uses for all these things. I think I tend to be more procedural. I like the noise reduction and the resizing. You like the
effects of the Portrait AI.
Portrait, yeah. It's just different. But I mean, that's where all these tools, what it is it's taking your raw photo, your base photo, and just enhancing them, because it's all about, it's not just about shooting, it's about the stuff you do in post that makes your photo really great.
All right, time for some tech support. Ready, Dan? So Andy, the guy I talked about earlier, the take my camera apart blindfold, and it has a tech issue. See, I would usually
Did you reboot your computer? That's always my first one.
The answer that I would give him to this question would be exactly what you said, because I bet it is that.
All right, so Andy is literally setting up ON1 Effects 2022 right now. He's literally doing it, and he says, I'm getting an error message saying the application is open and that it must be closed. The problem is none of the apps listed are running, so it's time to restart your computer.
It's usually a process is still open, it's sitting in the background, something got stuck,
just restart, and
I guarantee you restarted probably will fix it.
All right, we have to take another short pause because we're just about out of time. But coming up next, we've got some more Dan, because we've got some more stuff, and that's the word, stuff. Dan, we have stuff, and we are also we got prizes, we got more close-ups of Erik, so stick around.
All that good stuff.
We'll be right back. Don't go away. Coming up next, prizes.
Guys, Adobe just announced, I am not kidding, a groundbreaking update to Lightroom and Camera Raw, and it's across all the Lightrooms, whether it's classic or cloud or mobile or whatever. Crazy stuff that they did with the masking. Amazing, wonderful, changes everything, because they took some of the AI stuff and the machine learning stuff and the amazing, crazy Photoshop stuff, and they put it in Lightroom. And guys, I'm telling you, this is game-changing, mind-blowing, crazy stuff. You're going to be able to work faster and more efficiently and do things you never thought you would do in Lightroom. They have done an amazing job with this. I'm telling you, this is absolutely awesome. And I put together a class, and it's a short class. It's not a big long one. It's a short one. And when you're done with this class, you're going to totally get it. You're going to know it all, and you're going to be able to apply it to your work right away. It's going to change your game. You're going to love it. You're going to have a blast with it. And I cover it all in my brand new class. So come check out my brand new class on all the cool new Lightroom masking features over at Kelby1.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Eric made me. Okay. Yep. Hey, we're back. Hey, can I tell them what you just told me? Is it okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so Eric just now, ladies and gentlemen, joined the mirrorless revolution.
I did.
He just got his confirmation from B&H.
I've been using them so much over the last few years, and I just don't have one personally.
He's rented them, he's borrowed them, and now he bought a Canon EOS R6 mirrorless, which is the same one I have. I love that camera. It's my favorite camera I've ever owned. It is crazy awesome, and there we go. All right, Dan. All right, here we go.
Yes, sir.
All right, so Rosemary says, I wanted to give Kelby one a shout out. I decided to buy the Nick collection from DxO. Sorry, searched the web for a coupon code, but finally remembered, hey, I'm a Kelby One member. I logged in and there was a $20 coupon code waiting for you. Well, you're welcome, Rosemary. The timing's not great, I'll say this. But we did just give you a coupon code that is good for either $20 off or 20% off the ON1 effects or any of them, right? Any of them? Works for all of them?
Yep.
So that's pretty good.
Works for all of them.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good. All right. All right, Dan, I want to give you a warning. I have trivia questions for you coming up. But first we have...
Ooh, 2016.
Nope.
Nope. Oh, that's not the answer?
That's not the answer. No, some of them are very tricky. So... Anyway, some of them are kind of simple, and some of them are like, I never would have got that. Here we go. Eric, who won stuff today?
Yes, we got to give away some prizes here. So we got Dan Mancuso is winning the Lightroom Classic book. Diane Vandeput is from Atlanta is winning the Platypod accessory kit.
Boom.
Then we got Bob Fackelman, maybe, from New Jersey, winning the ON1 No Noise. So there you go. All and right. Then Mike Brott winning the Boudoir posing book. Then Gail K.
Of course, it's a guy asking for the Boudoir, but it's so naughty.
And then Gail K. from California is winning Joe's new book. And then Amy Davis Bryan is winning the trivia cards. The trivia cards that we're gonna. I think Scott's gonna ask some trivia questions now.
Can I say something? No, female photographers have lots of friends. It's guys that don't have friends.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Female
so if you won, just email us over at gridprize@kelby1.com. We'll verify your information and send you out your prize. But now it's time for the trivia.
Are you ready, Dan?
Hit me.
All right, and there's many of them, of course, and this is just look how thick this thing is. There's got to be. It's like hundreds and hundreds. There's three per card. 3 per card.
Wow, that's a flashback right
on
there.
On Funkin' Wagnall's doorstep. Here we go.
Wow, that's growing up my grandparents' house right there.
I'm going to give you an easy one first, Dan, so you get one and you build your confidence. What are the large flashes commonly seen in photo studios? What are they called?
Well, it depends. Are you talking like one that goes on a stand, like a
hey Dan,
speed light, or a monolight?
I did not write these questions. I'm reading you the question. You don't get to ask a follow-up question. I will read the question again, Dan, and if you don't get it right, then we just cut your feed. It is, what are the large flashes commonly seen in photo studios called?
I will say monolight.
Monolight is
big
correct.
Question.
It will take. It says
strobe?
either monolights or strobe. Either
said
one.
strobe.
Dan, that's the easy one.
That's the easy one. All right.
All right, here we go. Ready?
That's the easy one.
Here we go. And these get crazy harder. Which Kodak camera paved the way for bringing affordable photography to the masses? Which Kodak camera?
Film or digital?
Okay, Dan.
I would say the Kodak
Dan,
Brownie for film, but the DCS 120 for digital.
I did not write these questions. I have no follow-up. So is your answer the Brownie?
I will go with the Brownie.
Dan, you are right for 500-0.
Good.
All right, Dan. Now here's.
I'm a font of wealthless photography knowledge.
Yeah. So these are like. So there's a blue that's obviously easy, a black one, and then an orange. Now we're on the orange one, which is the hard one.
The orange is the hard one.
Dan, I'm thinking you're not getting this one. And Dan, do not go on Google and look this crap up.
Oh no, I'm sharing my screen.
You
You
can see
can
your reflection in your glasses of your screen. If I see the Google logo come up, we're disqualifying you. All right, here we go. All right. Who invented a camera with the shutter located inside the lens, making aerial photography much easier? If you're about to say Sherman M. Fairchild, you're correct, but you weren't about to say Sherman.
I was not going to say that.
See?
No Sherman.
All right.
I was going to pick Zeiss or something.
That's pretty crazy there.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me Ooh, here's one. I'm just going to give you some random ones. What is the name of the camera that makes it safe to look at the sun?
Is there one?
Yes.
I have no idea on that one.
A pinhole camera.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess.
Okay. Let me give you another random one. In what year was the first self-portrait taken? Well, that's an easy one. Come on, this is so obvious. Come on, first self-portrait. This is so obvious. Oh, come on.
I don't know. 1897.
Close, 1839. So obvious, Dan. So
obvious. Oh, I know. I didn't think Neeps took a picture of himself.
Now, see, look, Dan, you come on and you show all this really cool stuff, and then we punish you by asking ridiculously hard. See, it's never hard. It's never good.
I was hoping, like, things like reciprocity failure, anti-halation layer, things like that.
Oh, I'll bet you know this one. This is a good one. I'm going to give this last one I'm going to give you. This is a good one. So Robert Capa and Henri Cartier-Bresson were two of the founding members of which prestigious photography agency?
Magnum?
Yes, Magnum Photos. Very good. Dan, you were better at this than I expected, and I expected a lot. I expected a lot from you because you are a font of knowledge. And, let's ask Erik one. Erik Kuna. All right. Christina goes, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Oh. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, this is before Erik's time. I'm going to give you this one, but it's before your time. So it's kind of unfair because Erik's only like 19.
Yeah, 23.
What was one of Kodak's most famous early slogans? And it was coined by the founder, George Eastman of Eastman Kodak.
I have no idea.
You press the button, we do the rest.
Sounds good.
That's a good one.
Sounds good.
All right, we got to get Erik to have one. What chemicals were used to develop the first negative? This is so obvious.
So obvious. What?
Silver iodide, gallic acid, and silver nitrate.
Oh,
Come on.
That makes total sense.
Come on, so easy. I'm giving him a softball one here.
That's called pyro.
Yeah, so obvious.
All right, hold on. Let me see. Oh, this is an
I gotta
interesting
get Google
one.
ready.
Last one.
Here
Last
we
one.
go.
No. You don't get to use Google either, because I can see the. I can't see through your computer. All right.
Hey Siri.
No. What is this is the last one, and we're already 4 minutes and 48 seconds over. What type of camera is the most expensive camera ever sold? Now, before you answer this, I'm going to give you a hint. Think, if you just money was no object, and you're going to buy a camera, what brand would that be?
Well, it'd be a Hasselblad.
No, not,
or a Leica.
Not that kind. A what?
It's going to be a Leica.
The answer is correct. It is a Leica. It was a Leica O series. So.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those two.
Yeah. But a Hasselblad.
But not me. I'm going to buy a Canon.
He's buying a Canon R6.
Worked just fine for me.
All right, Dan, any last words of love before you go? Oh, by the way, Rosemary just said, just to clarify, I already have On1, and I love it.
All right.
So well, Rosemary, who gave us the $20 off on competing plug-in. So, hey, nothing against DxO. Their stuff is great.
Yeah.
So, but
there's great stuff
so anyway,
out there.
But to clarify, I already have On1 and love it. So thank you, Rosemary. It was very kind of you. All right, Dan, any final words of wisdom?
Go download it, give it a try. There's 30-day trials of everything, so you can try it out. I'm sure you're going to love it.
Oh, yeah. But that's the best thing to do is go try it.
That's what, when people ask me, like, with this plug, that I say, they all have demos. Just go try it.
Go try it, and you'll see for yourself.
You're going to find... That's honestly with the cameras. This is the same thing with I told you with cameras. Just don't go rent them because you'll figure out which one works for you and which one doesn't.
I do that with lenses. There's been lenses I thought I wanted until I rented one. I go to lensprotogo.com. I rent the lens. I go do a shoot, and I go, man, I'm glad I didn't spend $1,800 on this lens because I don't really like it. It's not,
That happened to me. That's with the Canon. I rented the 100 to 500. It's a great lens, but I was messing around. Jason got the 100 to 400, which is $2,000 less. It's great. It's
that's a
awesome.
good lens, isn't it?
And you know why it's awesome?
Because
it's actually lightweight.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Actually, it's lightweight. It's awesome. So, I mean, that's when you look at it, like, you just got to try different things out. And you're like, oh, that works for me.
All right. Well, Dan, thank you so much for being willing to come on the show today and hang out with us and show some plugins and stuff and give us a sketchy discount that may or may not be for $20 or 20%.
It'll work. I still know what you're going to get out of it.
We really don't know. So you're either going to get $13 off or you're going to get $20 off. But the important thing is, and you know what? Honestly, your pricing to begin with is very good. When you think of how important these become in our workflow and what we spend on any other piece of gear.
Absolutely. That's when they get out.
Even if you pay full
no-brainers.
price, they're no-brainers.
The one thing in the whole grand scheme of photography, the one thing that is a no-brainer are things like these plugins.
Yep.
Because that's what will change your photography.
And you know what else too? Whatever lens you buy, let's just say you go buy a lens and it's $2,000. As you know, you're probably not shooting every single day. But we're post-processing all the time. Yep. I go back and do photos from years ago, and then I get to use today's technology. I get to use today's Lightroom. I get to use today's On1 effects or AI portrait. So I can use these things on photos, and it's stunning to go back.
It's great because you go back to those old cameras that were really bad at ISO. You clean up the ISO. You get the raw file back, and then you take it right into effects and process the effects. So it's like boom, boom.
All right, let's have a trivia question to wrap us up. Eric, what is the noisiest camera you've ever owned?
It was a Canon 1D. It was the first one.
Canon 1D. Dan, noisiest camera you've ever owned?
The iPhone 1.
Oh, well, outside of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would any cell phone from before like 2018, I put in that category.
Probably like a Canon D30 would be my guess.
Oh yeah, the D20.
Some of those are pretty awful.
Wildly expensive.
Well, now I think about it, my first Rebel, which I can't even remember. I think it was the actual Rebel.
That was my.
That was really bad.
That was my first real digital camera.
That was really bad.
Was the Canon Rebel, the silver?
Now I still use that Canon now, so like I mean,
still alive.
Still
6
great.
megapixel.
Yeah, it's like 4, 5, whatever.
Something low.
Still works.
Mine was hands down, and it was so expensive. A Nikon D2X.
Yeah,
that thing generated noise on a stag, and then it was followed up by the D3, which is a whole different world. It was
they went into a whole different.
I went from the lowest noise camera. It's funny. It's just I got just a quick story here. So I was at a workshop in Montana, of all places. So I was in Montana, and I was doing a workshop, and I was the instructor with another instructor, and the other instructor that I was with actually worked for Nikon. Mm-hmm. And while we were out there shooting one morning and You know, the students are kind of over there doing their thing. I went over to him and said, hey, I got to tell you, I'm going to switch over to Canon. You know, just, I can't take this noise. I'm miserable. And I went and shot a Canon camera, and it blew this thing out. And I'm leaving. And he said, Scott, we got something coming. And he says, I wouldn't tell you this, you know, and this is, you know, top secret at the time. We have a camera coming that is going to blow your mind. And if noise is your issue, you're going to wipe it out of your mind. It's going to change everything. Please don't switch. Just wait until, now if this camera comes out and you say it's not the greatest camera you've ever used, then you switch and I'll support it. So I said, and how long is it coming out? It's like 3 months or 4 months. I said, okay, I can wait. And I waited, and it was the Nikon D3, and it did change everything.
Yeah,
and
I remember
so
that.
I wound up switching to Canon later anyway, but I didn't do it right then. And it was just because the difference between the D2X and the D3 is like a horse and buggy to a Ferrari. It was like,
well, then that was about the time that right in that time was about the time we started Kelby training. I remember right in that there was about the D3.
It was a long time ago.
Yep.
But that was a great camera. It really was for its time. All right. Well, Dan, thank you again. Thanks. Appreciate you coming on and showing all this stuff. You're a cool cat. It's like that. That's the way it is. So stay the hell back. All right. Good seeing you. And where can people go see your photography, Dan?
Ooh, gosh. You know, I don't post a lot of my stuff online. It's my photography. So I'm boring that way.
Oh, man. You have great stuff, too. So yeah, boo.
Thanks.
You know, there's this thing called Instagram. You should try it. It's cool. All right.
It's just a bunch of pictures of my kids and chickens.
That's
chickens
good.
And goats around the farm.
Those are the most important pictures, man. You'll have those pictures.
Yep, you gotta have those.
You're going to want those more than the rest. Mr. Kuna, where people can go see your pictures?
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Let me guess. At Erik Kuna.
ARIKKUNA, everywhere.
It's a great thing about having a name like that.
Yeah.
So, there you go. I'm at Scott Kelby, and Dan's at home. So
that's right.
All right, everybody. Thank you, Dan. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to everybody for watching and hanging out with us today. Stay safe and healthy and warm, and we will catch you next Wednesday live right here on The Grid. Take care, everybody.
All right. Thank you.